Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Welcome everybody to the Hockey Think Tank podcast, brought to you by the hockeythinktank.com, a website for all players, parents, and coaches to go to get a little bit of education and a little bit of inspiration regarding the greatest game on the planet. What an episode we have for you guys here today. Vex and I are flying solo, and we're talking all things hockey development today. And really excited to talk about this. And we're going to talk about what I call the 6 C's of hockey development. We'll get into that in just a bit. But before we do, let's bring on the talent of the podcast, a GMBM man himself, Jeffrey, Jehu, Scott, Tapman, 1 tooth out, captain, as a sophomore, GMBM, I mentioned that already, Levecchio, whatever you want to call him. Vex, what's up today?
You're just making it longer and longer. I love it. Doing good, bro. Just sped home from TPH STL, or one of our former podcasts. One of my retired pro guys, Phil McRae, runs it. If you haven't listened to that one, it's amazing. He's doing unbelievable things at TPH St. Louis. So just sped home for this after getting the kids jacked and having fun in the gym all morning, and happy to be here, man. When you were explaining what today's podcast is about, the C's of development, all I could think about is dip, dive, duck, dodge, and whatever.
Dodge, dip, duck, dive, and dodge. Yep.
I love it.
Patches O'Houlihan.
Yeah,
Patches
I love
O'Houlihan.
it. Patches
Do I
O'Towski.
Do I drink my own urine? Yes. Because it's sterile and I like the taste. For those of you who don't know, that is dodgeball. So
No, that's just Toast life.
Yeah, true. That too. But a lot of things to talk about actually before we get to our 6 C's of development. First of all, we have a new podcast producer, everybody. We got a new podcast. Hello. Laura Verkijk, who currently is dodging bullets in a hurricane down in Florida right now to be on here with us. And so we just brought her on. This is her first episode here today. So we're excited to have her. She is actually kind of new to hockey. Just picked it up here in the last couple of years and got the bug and fell in love with it. So really happy to have Laura on board, and she's going to help us to get this thing to the next level. For those of you that have asked already about this, Steph is not going anywhere. Steph is very much still a part of what we're doing.
Steph is in control of the horn, obviously.
Yeah, there we go. So she's working full time with me on the youth organization Blueprint stuff. I am actually currently sitting outside of a Tim Hortons in Calgary, Alberta. I'm on a Western swing right now. I was in Warman, Saskatchewan, just for the last 2 days. Actually got to stay with our boy, Byron Bitty, my teammate at Cornell, and Vex's teammate in Providence and Boston. So it was awesome to catch up with him. I'm in Calgary for the next 2 days, and then I head out to Homer, Alaska for a couple days as well. So making some progress and affecting some change with some youth hockey organizations. Really excited about that. So Laura, welcome to the team. Pumped to have you. Another couple of announcements. So our Hockey Think Tank community, we have Brandon Naurato, the head coach at the University of Michigan. He is coming on, and he's going to interact with all the people in our community. You get the chance. Not often do you get the chance to interact and ask questions to the smartest hockey people in the game. And Nar's going to hop on and talk some hockey with us, field some questions from our community members, and we're really excited about that. So if you're not a part of the community yet, go to community.thehockeythinktank.com and join. You get a ton of different stuff, access to Vex and I. a ton of different little hockey resources, access to everybody in the community. We have awesome parents, awesome coaches, people just really passionate about the game that are in there. So go to community.thehockeythinktank.com if you want to hang out with Nar for a little bit next Sunday night on October 20th. So that's another one. Also, really, really cool thing happened in the NHL. Jess Campbell, first woman ever on an NHL bench, and Jess is a great. Yep, an awesome Cornell graduate. I got the chance to work with Jess pretty closely when we were in Chicago, and she just does an awesome job. Completely deserves this position, and she's going to be a great asset to the Seattle staff there. So how about it, dude? Like, you got a daughter now. I got 3 daughters. A glass ceiling has just been broken in the sport that we love. Like, what are your thoughts, man?
I mean, it's wild. It's wild. I want to watch like behind the scenes on the team to see how it all works. Like it's crazy. Like, well, who was it? Rayum, but Rayum never played a regular season game, right? She played preseason. Did she back up in any regular season games or no?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, man, it's cool. I mean, good hockey people are good hockey people. Doesn't matter what your privates are.
There you go.
You know, like if you can do the job, you can do the job.
There you go. So congrats to Jess. And again, with 3 kids, 3 daughters. Vex just had a daughter. How old is she now? Has it been 3 weeks?
She'll be 4 weeks on Saturday. So she's 3.5 weeks.
3.5 weeks, 4 weeks.
Oh yeah.
How's it going, buddy? How's it going? Man. How's Kylie? How's the baby?
We think we're hoping she's not colic, but for those of you that are parents and have had one of those, you know how tough it is when they're crying nonstop. She either is colic or she's got like some reflux stuff. So Kylie took her to the doctor today. So we'll see. Hopefully it helps. But like when she sleeps, she's the cutest little MFer ever created. But when she's awake, like it just seems like we're doing all these, we take her to the chiro twice a week, and that's helped like kind of release some of the gas. Maybe she's just like her daddy, just rips big bombs, rips big farts, and we're trying to fix that for just take care of her. It's so hard when they can't tell you what's wrong and they're crying and you're just like, I just want to help you. I have to throw myself in front of a bus to make you feel better. So we're trying to figure it out. Hopefully soon we get that fixed here.
Yeah. It's so funny to watch you as a dad now. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's the best. Learning to schedule now is definitely a little bit tougher because since I retired in 2018, if I'm awake, I'm working, I'm doing something. And so for me to figure out now, obviously I have to be a present father and want to be, and help my wife as much as I can with the baby. So trying to figure out how I can do all the things that I will do, and will continue to do while being a present dad is definitely a challenge. So shout out to all the present dads out there who are finding a way to make it work.
There we go. Last thing I have here before we get into our thank yous and get into the meat of the podcast is just some really unfortunate news in the hockey world. And it's been circulated around social media here this week. But Matty Deschamps, one of the assistant coaches at the University of Michigan, I've known Matty for a long time. You talk about good people, man. Like, this guy's good people. Not good people. This guy's great people. Phenomenal human being. Phenomenal hockey coach, obviously, as well. And his wife just got diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. And there's a GoFundMe page that's circulating around right now, the hockey community, and it's blowing up because the hockey community is the best community in the world. But Matty, he's got he's got 5 kids, a lot of different expenses, and his expenses are just going to go up with all the treatments and all the doctor visits and things like that they're going to have to go through here to make sure that his wife is going to be okay. So he's obviously in our thoughts and prayers, and hopefully he can be in all your thoughts and prayers. But we'll put a link in the show notes here for anybody to want to donate to this GoFundMe fund for the family as they're going through this difficult time here. Like I said, Matty he's the best man, just a great grade A human being. And so if you can, please, donate to the family so we can help them out as they're going through this tough time with all their kids and all their activities, the medical expenses and everything like that. So wishing them nothing but the best, and we're there for them. And the hockey community will be there for them too.
And it's just, there's obviously so many GoFundMes that go out there and things. A lot of bad things happen in the world. I think a lot of people, when they get those, sometimes are like, oh, something else that I want to donate to, but I can't. But I think about it like, dude, $5 helps, because Toph said the hockey community is powerful. It's massive. If everybody donates $5, that is going to wind up probably making a way bigger impact than just random people donating 100. You know what I mean? And it's like $5. Okay, I'm going to sacrifice going to Starbucks tomorrow morning. I'm gonna make coffee at home or whatever. For 2 days, I'll make coffee at home. You get that $5 right back. And it's like, if we could all band together here and just, donate $5, $10, $12, whatever you have, it will make a massive, massive impact. Many hands make for light work. So if you can, please donate.
100%, man. 100%. So yeah, we'll put that in the show notes in there, and then we'll get to some thank yous here, and then we'll get to the meat of the podcast. So first people we want to thank are icehockeysystems.com, our title sponsor. These guys are amazing, and holy crap, if they come up with a few huge announcements in the last weeks. Daryl Belfry is now a part owner of icehockeysystems.com. He is one of the most downloaded episodes that we've done, one of the smartest hockey people in the entire world. So that's absolutely huge. He's putting on a ton of content for that website as well. Also, they just announced and I knew this because we know him well, but they just interviewed Scotty Bowman. The greatest coach of all time in hockey, most Stanley Cups. Just incredible. So they're doing an awesome thing over there. We so much value their partnership. So go to icehockeysystems.com today. They have a ton of stuff on there for your coaching education needs. We have also partnered with them to do an associations platform where you can get this for every single coach within your organization. And it's such a value add. So like I said, go to icehockeysystems.com today and look up that associations platform. Vex, what do you got next?
Train Heroic, fam. Train Heroic is the unbelievable app that I'm training probably close to 1,000 athletes here in season right now and year round. They're JOB for a hilariously low price. Not everybody can afford a quality strength coach. Not everybody has a quality strength coach that understands the demands of hockey near them. This is where this app comes in. I work with Division III teams. I work with USHL, NOL, midget teams. I have a couple of youth teams from around the country. And then obviously all of the organizations that I work with here in St. Louis, programming for. The app is amazing. It's not just a crappy PDF like Toph and I used to get when we were growing up. It's videos, me demonstrating and coaching everything. So you have no questions. Train Heroic has allowed me to scale my business and work with so many teams. If you're a team or an organization looking to get quality training, whether they're workouts in a gym, workouts at the rink, workouts at home, no matter the age, I can facilitate that because of Train Heroic. So thank you, Train Heroic. Also want to say thank you to Cure Nutrition. Cure Nutrition CBD company I've been with for years. I use CBD twice a day, every day. You guys hear this every single podcast. Twice a day, every single day. I've had quite a few traumatic brain injuries. Not only does it help me stay sharp in the brain, but also it helps me recover. I work a lot. I train very hard. I have a physically demanding job. CBD just helps your body recover. If you have any questions on CBD, what, how, when, where, why, all of those things, please reach out to me. I'm certified in endocannabinoid nutrition, can help answer your questions. Or you can go to curenutrition.com, use my discount code GMBM and save that money.
All right. And want to thank Helios Hockey. Go to helioshockey.com today. And this is a sensor that you put in your shoulder pads. It gives you real-time data, real-time feedback on your play and specific things like your shot mechanics, your hustle score. Just got off the phone with their CEO, Bill Neer, yesterday. They have some incredible things coming up the hopper, like incredible things coming up the hopper. So go to helioshockey.com today. And if you use the coupon code ThinkTank, one word, you will get a discount, 20% discount on your pro annual or pro 24 month subscriptions, guys. This syncs with your video, whether it's Live Barn, your iPhone, an iPad, whatever it may be, and you get your shifts cut up for you instantly after your game. As soon as you move with Helios, camera moves with you. It gets it going on, and it's an incredible resource. So go to helioshockey.com today. Use that coupon code ThinkTank, one word. Also want to thank Crossbar. Crossbar is an end-to-end software solution for basically streamlining all of your operations within your youth hockey organizations. We work with a ton of different youth hockey clubs, and the ones that have switched over to have Crossbar, it's been an unbelievable value add. Like the feedback that I get from hockey directors and from presidents and volunteers has been so incredible. It's so clean. It's so easy to use. What do they have? Modern website design, registration set up in minutes for everything from your entire season to drop-ins and lessons and family skates and things like that. There's a club schedule that's really easy to use, a 5-star mobile app to communicate with your teams and to communicate with your families, financial tools and reporting, rink management, volunteer management, you name it, they got it. Phenomenal resource for any youth hockey organization out there. So go to crossbar.org today and check that out. Nothing gets me more excited than the thrill of the beginning of the fall hockey season. From the NHL on down, there's nothing better than competing with your teammates to start the year. Personally, I'm pumped for this year's quest for the Stanley Cup. Last year's season was incredible, and this one seems to be even better at the start of the season. And when I'm looking for tickets to see games live, I always use the Game Time app. I've used this app to get unreal deals all the way leading up to the game. It's really user-friendly and makes getting tickets so much easier through a new feature called Game Time Picks. It filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. I'm going to be in Boston next month and use Game Time to get tickets to go see a game when they're playing the Columbus Blue Jackets to see some former players that I have. It was so incredibly easy to use because it's curated to my wants and even customizes your spot for you throughout the game. On the app, you can get a panoramic view from your seat. In the app, before you even buy it, there's a lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticket industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code THPN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code THPN for $20 off. Download Game Time app today. What time is it? Game time. The quest for the Stanley Cup starts now. Pucks dropping on the 24-25 season, and get in on all the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. It's super easy for first-timers to get started. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, select your team, and place your first bet. All available lines and odds from DraftKings Sportsbook app are for upcoming games. And if you're new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ice. Copyright NHL 2024, all rights reserved. And thank you to all of you who continue to listen. We have so much fun doing this podcast. We continue to grind it out. Like I said, I'm in the parking lot of a Tim Hortons in Calgary right now to make sure we get this out here for you guys next week. We're excited to talk about some development. But if you guys can help us out a little bit, any like and comment, you can download, leave us a rating, shoot a review. It goes a long way. First of all, we want some feedback to know how we can be better and how we're making an impact the community, but also the more you interact with us on social media and the more you interact with us specifically with whatever podcast app you're using, then the algorithm, they love it. They love it, and they will get us into more ears when people are searching for hockey podcasts. And so thank you for all your love and support for what we do. And with that, Vex, are you ready to talk some hockey, my man?
Let's get it, baby.
Okay, so here we go. The 6 C's of hockey development. The 6 C's of hockey development. Here's what I got for you. Tell me what I'm missing. Okay, and we'll go through these in detail here, obviously. But I'll kind of run through the 6 right now, and then we'll detail them. So number 1, and actually before I get into that, I want to tell people how I kind of came up with this. So obviously I had the chance to coach at a high level for a long time, and recruited and scouted for college hockey. And so what I wanted to do is I'm thinking about what were the attributes that the kids that we recruited and the kids that I coached in college hockey, what did they have that allowed them to be great hockey players and to be great human beings? You know what? And then from there, you always talk about this regressing back. Here are the things that we want to see at this level, right? So let's work backwards, and how can we instill and develop these things in the kids that we're coaching as they're going through their journeys, right? And so that's kind of how I came up with this 6 C's. So the first one we'll talk about is creativity. Got to have kids that are creative and make plays. The second one is competitiveness, just a compete level. There's the puck. We're in a 50-50. I want it more than you. And in the simplest of terms. Number 3 is coachability. Number 4 is community, the importance of understanding how to be a great teammate. The 5th one is charisma. That's basically a passion for the game. And the 6th one is confidence. And confidence is something we talk about almost every podcast at length. But we'll really detail that again here today. But the first one, dude, is creativity. You have to be able to make plays in the game of hockey. You have to be able to make plays. At the end of the day, when I'm sitting and I'm watching a game as a scout, as a recruiter, you know, I get excited about the kids who understand the game, have a hockey sense and an IQ, and make plays when they're out there. That creativity is something that's so incredibly important. What I will say is if you talk to any high-level coach or any high-level scout right now, the creativity is non-existent almost. There's a lot of really, really skilled hockey players out there, but there's not a lot of really, really incredible creative hockey sense players out there. So with that, Vex, talk to me a little bit about how you feel like we can develop creative players and where we're at in that instance.
Well, so many coaches with younger players, and honestly, all players want to control everything they do. We used to call it in college, you know, that our coach wished that he had an Xbox controller because he'd be on the bench yelling for what every player to do the entire game, like the whole game. And it's like, dude, you don't have an Xbox controller. You can't be, that's not how it works. And then also you're not letting players think for themselves. And in practice, a lot of times they're like, you have to do this all the time, every time. You know, coaches will say, I want you to make a play, but then anytime you mess up making a play, they immediately dog you. They sit you, things like that. Now, yes, there is a time and a place to make a play or not make a play, but that's a learning experience. In practice, you want to create games, you want to create drills where players sometimes are working on a specific skill that you want them to do it a specific way. But then other times you want them to try things on their own. You want to open up the ideas. You want to give them, okay, so like this is the drill. I want you guys to compete. I want you to battle. And this is the goal of the drill. However you achieve that goal is up to you. And then when somebody does something creative that's outside the box, whatever, you can blow the whistle down and see, did you just see what Johnny did right there? Right? Everybody else did it this way. He did it that way. What was the difference there? Why would he do it that way? You know, in the gym, you can be doing these things off the ice as well. You know, you create games. Like we just make up games that are trying to elicit specific thought patterns, specific skills, or games where it's complete creativity and exercises. You've got to get from here to there. I don't care how you do it. Go. I'm not going to give you any coaching. Zero coaching. I want to watch how you do it. So especially at the younger age, just let them figure it out. And then you can pause and be like, okay, you guys saw how Johnny did it versus how David did it versus how little Timmy did it. All right. Who do you think did it the best? Who do you think did it this way? And then they can start, oh yeah, he did it that way. Well, okay, I did it this way, but I'm going to try that way. So not being like a dictator all the time and being like, you have to do it this way. And also sometimes giving them the end goal of the drill without giving them the steps to achieve the goal so that they can learn on their own. And this is really hard. And I'm sure that this goes the same for parenting as I will learn here soon. Sometimes you got to let them figure out things on their own, fail, learn, adapt, apply. And creativity comes in that. If you're always giving strict rules, you have to do it this way, you are going to create robots and stifle creativity.
Yeah, 100%. You talk to any high-level hockey people, and they say a lot of the demise and a lot of the downfall of hockey sense and creativity is the fact that nobody plays on a pond anymore.
So
nobody plays on a pond. Nobody goes to free ice and with no structure. That unstructured play is such an important part, and figuring it out on your own to develop creativity. Wayne Gretzky talks about it all the time. Bobby Orr talks about it all the time. You can't get them in front of a microphone enough where they talk about how they learned how to play the game in unstructured situations in the backyard, on the pond with no coaching involved. And I think as coaches, we can teach hockey IQ. We can teach it, but we do a way better job of stifling it than we do teaching it. And so, I would encourage and challenge all the coaches out there, take some time during your practice planning to play a game with not where you're not involved. Let them play, let them do their thing. There's no coaching. It doesn't have to be every practice or whatever, but that's a part of developing creativity in hockey sense for sure, is that unstructured play. And also, dude, and I'd love to get your take on this too. And it goes back to stifling the creativity, but the amount of rope that we give players to make mistakes, in playing games, that can do a ton of harm to creating high hockey IQ players. And so I want to get your thoughts on that, just based on how you've been coached in the past, based on what you've seen in your yeah.
Let me throw a question back at you, because you've coached way more than I have on the ice, no doubt about that, and at higher levels. How do you like to go about that? Let's say, the simple question is, every coach is like, yeah, I want you to try and beat a guy. And then they make a turnover at the blue line, trying to make a move, trying to be creative, which the coach said they want them to. And then they scream at them and then they sit them. What's a better way to handle those type of situations? And obviously it doesn't have to just be in a danger area. Just, what's a better way for a coach to handle when they mess up after the coach has given them the rope to use the creativity that they say they want?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And my standard is always, I shouldn't say has always been, but if I were to coach again here today, and again, it depends on the level, right? College is way different than youth hockey. But in youth hockey, my standard is make as many mistakes as you want, turn it over at the blue line, whatever. I want you to make plays, but you better get your butt back. Right? I will give you as much rope as you want if when you make your mistake, you're hustling back and you're tracking and you're responsible defensively to make sure you make up for it, right? Because there's a side of it too where if you're just turning pucks over and it's going back the other way on odd man Russians all the time, that's no fun to play. Nobody wants that, right? And so my standard would be, do your thing, make your plays, be creative, try different things. But there's an asterisk. The more responsible and the more you care about playing defensively, the more rope I'm going to give you offensively, if that makes any sense.
100%. I mean, that's the biggest one that I encountered as a player a lot. It's the biggest one that players tell me, is that, oh, he said, he wants me to make a play. And then every time I try to make a play, and it doesn't happen, I get yelled at. And so I just think that that's something that, I don't know what coaches can do from the standpoint of trying not to allow themselves to fall in that trap, or if there's a way that you can, maybe it's a grading system. It's ABC. Like this is an area of the ice where if you make a play and you mess up, I'm not really that mad about it. Probably more of the offensive zone below the top of the circles. B could be like maybe like the neutral zone, and C would be like the D zone. You try to make a play. Well, if you try to make a play in the D zone and you mess up and you're a little bit older, we can't have that. This isn't the place to do it, or this isn't the time to do it. We're up a goal with a minute left in the slot. You tried to toe drag. So it's like maybe in their head, if they could categorize, is this an A, B, or C? And now how will I approach how I'm going to talk to them when they come back to the bench or in video? Maybe that would make it easier to help coaches kind of decide, how am I going to coach this scenario where I do want them to be creative, I do want them to try things, but is this kind of like an ABC situation? I don't know. I'm thinking on the hop here, but maybe that's like a way that could help coaches think about this.
I mean, I get what you're saying. I don't know if I necessarily agree though. Like, make the right play. Make the right play. I mean, if you think about it, like, let's use an example. When we were growing up and you were in your defensive zone, if you passed the puck in front of the net into the middle, you were getting sat. Like, you don't do that. And now everybody forechecks coming down the wall. So you have to be able to make a little bit of a quote unquote riskier play to pop it into the middle, into the center who's in good support. Like, what used to be a really risky play is now a really, really smart play. It's still a risky play because if you mess up, they get the puck and they're right in front of your net, right? So I don't know if I would necessarily do that. Like, I think a lot of it, honestly, dude, is just being comfortable in your own skin and communicating what the standards are to the parents. Like, might you lose a game or two from a couple bad turnovers in your own zone or in the neutral zone? Yeah, at the end of the day, you might. But are you creating players that have hockey sense that can eventually translate to the next level by coaching that way? Yeah, 100%. And so, like, the communication that you have on your standards with your team and at the youth hockey level with your parents, like, there's going to be some games, guys, that we're going to look really bad because our kids are going to be making a lot of bad plays. But I'm encouraging them to make plays, and it's not going to look pretty. I'm just warning you. But
I think that's the root. That's the root. Like that.
Yeah, coaches are scared shitless of the parents.
My team is 0-10 at squirt, and we're so angry and blah blah. It's like, dude, who cares? Like, yes, we want to care about winning, we want to teach winning, but the focus at this young age is developing them to be better when they're older and enjoy the game.
And dude, I was having a conversation with a hockey director the other day, and we were talking about this kind of scenario almost, and it was interesting. I was like, you should never judge a youth hockey coach in the first half of the season. You should never judge a youth hockey coach in the first half of the season, because wins and losses in the first half of the season is pretty much based upon the talent of your team. Right? Would you agree?
Yep.
To a certain extent?
100%.
Judge a hockey coach based on, is their record better in the second half of the season than it was in the first? Are the players developing the skills, and are they looking better with their skating, with their puck handling, with their skills, with their passing, in the second half of the season than the first half of the season? Like, that's how coaches should be judged. And unfortunately, again, we live in this My Hockey Rankings world where that's the only thing a lot of people judge coaches by. But at the end of the day, like, at the first half of the season isn't really the coach. It's more the talent. Second half of the season, I would argue, is absolutely, there's a big part of that is the coach.
100%.
So yeah, if I'm a coach, I'm explaining very, very vehemently what my method to the madness is in allowing the rope for the kids to make plays. However, they're not going to get sat for turning it over if they get their butt back and care about playing defensively. They will get sat if they turn it over and they coast, and they don't.
I like
care,
that. I like that. I like that a lot.
And just setting the expectations with the parents. So the last thing I have here with this too is, like, what are some different ways that we can develop some of this IQ in practice? Like, how can we set up some drills? How can we, what are your thoughts on that? Give some tangible advice for the coaches out there.
Well, first of all, actually, like, write your practice plan before you get there. I mean, and I know that sounds like a duh, but I mean, I've been playing, started hockey at 2 years old. I'm 39 now, so I've been in hockey 37 years. The amount of coaches that show up, put their skates on, and then think of it as they're out there or while they're getting dressed 4 minutes before they get on the ice. I don't care who you are. You're unprepared. You're doing the kids a disservice. I'm not saying you got to sit there for 3 hours on a Saturday and have all the numbers coming out of your head like Rain Man thinking about how am I going to make this practice the best. But like, be prepared. Come into practices thinking, what does the team need to work on? I mean, really, you should reverse engineer. At the end of this season, to go into the older level next year, what do they need to be proficient at? What do they need to be good at? And then you reverse engineer. So what do we need to work on this year from where they need to be next year and where they're at today? And then what skills are those? And then how do I progress those month after month? And then you build drills around those things. And specifically coming from Hockey IQ, a big one is going to be not treating them like robots and being like, starting every drill with like the easiest way for them to get into the drill. Start drills off of scrambles. Start drills off of guys are flying around all over, weaving through, and then you blow the whistle. So they have to talk to each other. They have to read the situation. They have to read and assess the situation. They've got to decide where they're going, when, why, how. Instead of like, so for example, you're doing a forecheck drill. Instead of having the guy who's the fastest is always going to be F1 and the other guys are always going to be F2 and F3, you start them by moving and then you blow the whistle at the most random time ever, and then they've got to figure it out. Who's ahead of who's closest to the puck, who's going where. That's a little way that they're working on their IQ in a forechecking scenario, but you can put that type of thing into every single drill.
Start with a race or a battle. Start with a race or a battle. Start with a race or a battle. Again, I bring his name up a lot because he's one of the smartest hockey people ever. But Barry Smith, Scotty Bowman's right-hand man with all his Stanley Cups, or not all of them, but a lot of his Stanley Cups, start with a race. Start with a race. And to teach hockey sense, it's teaching them how to, number one, like predictable patterns, but also like how to find control in the chaos as well. And so if it's a 2-on-2 or a 3-on-3, when you start with a race, whoever gets the puck, now we got to figure out how am I going to support the person who has the puck now? Defensively, how am I going to get in a position to take away time and space? And now you're thinking in different scenarios rather than here, I'm going to give you the puck. We'll just start the drill like that. He also does something called the swirl. I've seen him do it on the ice where you get 3 players. Like if it's a forecheck drill, for instance, you get 3 players and they all stand kind of close together and they skate in a little circle for 2 or 3 seconds. And then you blow the whistle. And then you're right. If you don't have some of that, it's already predetermined who's going to be F1, who's F2, who's F3. Now the first person outside the swirl's got to be F1 and the other 2 got to read. Right. So we're teaching a little bit of hockey sense there. So I love that. Another thing is, and I'm going to add to kind of what you said, but like clear objectives for what you're trying to accomplish in the drill, right? Clear objectives. So is this a drill where we're trying to work on puck support? Is this a drill where we're trying to work on a certain skill? Is this a drill where we're trying to work on some sort of habit or concept in our team play? And really making sure the kids understand the why and then like progressing from that drill. And so one of the best ways to teach hockey sense is progressing into pressure. Right? Progressing into pressure, taking away time and space. So we got to think things through and great ways to do that. And I talk to Brian Kane and Nar and Adam Nicholas and these guys like that all the time, but like creating conditions inside of a game where they're going to have to do the habit, the skill, the hockey sense thing that you're trying to teach within that drill. Right. So a perfect example, you can do a 2-on type of drill and start off as just a 2-on-2. And then add a rule or add a layer to it. It's 2-on-2, but you can only hold on to the puck for 2 seconds. And if you hold on to the puck for more than 2 seconds, then I'm going to blow the whistle. It's a change of possession. What are you doing? You're emphasizing what's your objective. We want puck support. The guy without the puck has to work really, really hard to to get in space of support. Or maybe it's a 3-on-3 type drill. Okay. But maybe you want to work on attacking quick off change of possession. So you add a layer to it where you add a rule where as soon as possession changes, if you score within 4 seconds, you get 3 points for a goal instead of 1 point for a goal. So adding little rules, adding little constraints, adding little consequences or rewards during games to emphasize and promote the thing that you're trying to work on, and then progressing from potentially making it a little bit easier to making it a little bit harder with the challenge points on there.
And then for me, the last one is watching video. I've talked about it on this podcast so much. I didn't get into watching hockey. I watched a lot of video my last year juniors, which I made one of the biggest leaps in my career because of Jimmy McGroarty and him going through every single shift of every game I played that year. And my hockey IQ jumped tremendously. And then at the end of my career, my last probably 5-6 years in pro, I watched so much more hockey to study it. Why is that guy doing that? How is he doing it? What are his eyes doing? What is his head doing? And then going out on the ice and actually trying the things that I watched at the highest levels. Going over your video is one of the best ways to increase your hockey IQ.
100%, man. 100%. And just to take it further, I got one more thing. I think it's really important to talk about practice to game transfer. And the things that you're doing in practice, what's the goal? The goal is to make sure that we're instilling the habits and the things that we're talking about to make sure it transfers into the game. So put kids in scenarios that they're going to see during a game. If you have a warm-up drill where it ends in a shot from the hash marks in the middle of the ice on a 1-on-0, that's never going to happen during a game. Where are a lot of the scenarios happening, right? In the offensive zone, in the corners. That's why we do a lot of small area games. In the neutral zone, doing drills and on rushes and where it looks like it. Make sure that it's not just mindless stuff where they have to think about it and they're in situations that they're going to see during the game. And then the more you can gamify it, the more you can create a little bit of competition. I think that brings out the best in us. And I think that's a big thing too in getting that. So creativity again, it's teaching hockey IQ. I think there is an aspect to it that is kind of God-given. I think there's an aspect to it that I think the more sports you play, I would say the better hockey IQ you're going to have, because you're going to take different patterns. You're going to take different things from different sports that can help you be a better hockey player. And then, unstructured play is extremely important. Watching video is another thing, like Vex said, and just the way that you communicate and the amount of rope that you give your players, it goes a long, long way to, instilling the confidence in them to make plays or stifling it at the end of the day.
100.
Got it.
Nobody does selling better than Shopify. Shopify is the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret, with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts go abandoned and way more sales going through. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. On the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout that Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period for 3 months at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
The secret is out. With millions of younger-looking customers across the country, Plexiderm is one of the most highly sought-after products on the market. It visibly shrinks under-eye bags and smooths out crow's feet in minutes, and the effects last up to 10 hours. Influencers love it, Magazines feature it, and people just can't get enough of it. As a matter of fact, Elle Magazine gave it an Editor's Choice Award as Best Instant Wrinkle Filler for 2025. In as little as 10 minutes, Plexiderm reduces the appearance of fine lines, wrinkles, and those dreaded under-eye bags. So yes, you can look years younger in minutes, and the effects last for hours. No surgery, no gimmicks, just results. The best news, you can try Plexiderm for only $14.95. Plus, get free shipping. Don't wait. Order Plexiderm today. Visit plexiderm.com/special. That's plexiderm.com/special. Paid for by Sheer Science.
Okay, ready to move on to the next one?
Hi.
Okay. Compete. Tell me about how to instill compete in players, Vex. Let's go.
Compete, competition, same word. Make everything a freaking competition in practice. Don't do drills just to do drills. Athletes love to compete. Also, I do this in the gym all the time. I did it today. We did with my youngest group, one of our biggest focused, like we had on the podcast with Jeremy Fritch. If you haven't listened to that episode, please, for the love of God, if you have a young athlete, listen to the Jeremy Fritch episode. Follow him on Twitter. He's unbelievable. So today, my youngest group in the gym, working on long-term athletic development, we just did a drill, part of their warm-up, where they had to run 5 yards, backpedal 5 yards. As they looked back over their shoulder, they'd hit that 5-yard line backwards. They had to do 3 somersaults and then sprint 15 yards, race, and touch the box. Whoever got to the box first won. So it was very clear who won, because whoever hit the box first, everyone in the gym could see it. And then I said, and if you win, I want you to talk shit to the guy you beat. So, of course, they all are loving it and doing it. And it's just, making them go that much harder. It's instilling that compete level, because they are allowed to talk smack to that player that they win against. And then the next time, the player who lost doesn't want to get the smack talk to him in front of all their classmates. So now they're going harder. So it's making everything a competition. All right. Everything. I talk about, I don't care if it's who can take a poop faster, who can walk to the drinking fountain faster, racing, battling, talking crap to, I don't care what it is. Make everything a competition. That is the best way. The more that athletes compete, the more they love to compete. And I know this without a shadow of a doubt, because I have trained thousands of athletes, and I've done this all 16 years that I have trained athletes in the gym. And then it's something that I brought into practice on every single team I played on from 18 years old, my second year in the USHL on. Anytime that you can keep score, keep it. Anytime you can award a winner, award the winner. All right. This whole bull crap of giving everybody a trophy and everybody's special. No, everybody's not special. You have to earn being special, and you earn it by competing and beating someone else. Right. So make everything a competition.
I don't have much more to add there, man. I love it. I love it.
Very passionate about this, because I hate people that don't care about losing, don't love winning, and don't want to battle. I don't understand it. I don't think it makes any sense for sports or for life.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think a couple other things. Well, first of all, too, like, competing makes it more fun. Like, when you create competition, the kids have more fun as well. I think that's a big part of it. And the other thing, and this I kind of got from you, like, we always kind of crap on the kids who don't compete. Rather than doing that, positively reinforce and praise the kids who really do. And when you do that, the kids that don't, they're going to be like, well, I want Vex to come tell me that I'm a badass because, I worked really hard in that, or I competed really hard in that. So then maybe they're going to do it too. Right. So rather than just always, the quote unquote soft kids really getting into them, a different way is just praising the ever loving Jesus out of the kids who do compete really hard every day. And going from there. And sometimes those are the kids that need it the most, because sometimes the most competitive kids aren't necessarily the most talented kids. They might be playing a lesser role on a team, whatever it may be. And then they don't get the positive reinforcement on the scoreboard and on the score sheet and stuff. So it's really important that you praise those kids for the intangible stuff like competitiveness. So they feel like they're a part of the team. They feel like they're into it and going on it from there. So I think that's good. And then the other thing is really positively reinforcing it in video with your players and with your team. So whenever you see a kid that's absolutely battling, whenever you see a kid that is really in it and go, like, make sure, like in video, like show the team that, like positively reinforce that in video, especially because the kids are very visual learners. And I think that goes a long way too. What are your thoughts there?
That's worked very well for me. That's worked extremely well for me. There's no doubt about it that I'm not against negative reinforcement when it's necessary. However, I have personally found, again, I've worked with thousands of athletes, that when you have athletes that are doing the right things and praising them in front of everybody else, it pretty much works with everybody, but especially at the younger ages, it just makes everybody else want to get that pat on the ass. It makes everybody else want to be the guy who's, getting getting the props in front of the team, right? You know what I mean? And even a little thing with young players, like I'll do like a MVP of the practice gets a Gatorade, like something simple like that, and like that little detail, and then making their teammates clap for them, or asking the team, who do you think did X today the best or the hardest or the most dialed in, and then the teammates vote that guy. Now, next time, everybody else wants to be that guy. I've had young players when after I do that, where the next session I'll come in and they'll be like, "You giving out a Gatorade today? I'm going to win it today." Instantly, they're bought in and they're competing harder, right? And is that a little bit of a bribe? Yeah, but I think it's a harmless one. It's a Gatorade.
Yeah, rewards and consequences at the end of the day can go a long way. At the end of practice, whoever loses got to untie the skates of one of the winning players, or a skate or push-ups or whatever, just adding to the stakes a little bit. Like, yeah. And that makes it fun too. That makes it a lot of fun. And I've told this many, many times on here, but my year at Michigan, we kept track of all the small area games, man. We kept track of all the small area games. And if you were on a team that won in a small area game in practice, you got to win. If you were on a team that lost, you got a loss. And we tracked it all year. And man, did that get the guys going, and did our kids compete extremely, extremely hard as we were going through it. And it was the first thing they see when they got in the nutrition room, right? Like, it was the Excel spreadsheet that I put together of what was going on. And guys did not want to be on the bottom of that sheet. They did not want to be on the bottom of that sheet.
You have to make everything a competition. Like I said, I don't care what it is. It literally doesn't matter. And when you do that, every single day, everything will become a competition. When you make a couple of things a competition, everything will become a competition. And when you do that, that's facilitating a culture that is making people better. At work, hockey, gym, school, I don't care what it is. Like, that's where I have such a massive problem with all these trophies to everywhere, and like, don't put up the list of who made the team and who didn't. And I don't agree with any of that stuff. Life is hard. Get a helmet.
Life is hard. Get a helmet.
Should
that be the new tagline of the podcast?
I mean, it's like babying and coddling people makes them worse. It makes them worse. We've got to be inspiring them to reach higher, to go harder, to go further. And a big part of that is winners and losers. The more, and then teaching them, once they lose, once they fall, okay, well, how do we not do this tomorrow? How do we get better tomorrow? How do you close the gap tomorrow? That's where the coaching comes in. But don't lie and be like, winning doesn't matter and whatever, so yeah, this is a big one for me, because I know, yeah. Well, it's just like, this is the way that I personally was able to make it to the highest levels of hockey, is because it was literally, I was competing at everything I did every single day, which is the only reason that I got better at every level. And then I've instilled that in the thousands of athletes that I've worked with, and I've seen it work for all of them too. I've seen the opposite in a lot of different organizations that I've been a part of, and I see it go the opposite way. So for me, it's pretty simple. Compete.
100%, dude. I think that's why, both of us got to where we got to. We don't like to lose. My mom always tells a story when I was like 4 or 5 years old. They had some friends over and I was playing like NHL, whatever with them. And I was like beating him. I think he was probably letting me win. And then he was like, I'm going to win. And so he started to beat me. This was like Sega Genesis or whatever. And then as he started to beat me, I got so mad. I like went up to the screen and I like turned the game off. I like ran upstairs. I was all pissed off. Like it just, some of that is definitely innate, but it definitely can be brought out.
I love that. A lot of times I'll get like, oh, he's a sore loser. Good. I love that. That means he hates to lose. Now that is a teaching or coaching moment, but like when parents or coaches be like, oh, he's such a sore loser. Good. That means he's passionate and he wants to freaking win. Now bring in the coaching / teaching parenting element of, I'm so happy that you're pissed off you lost. So now what are you going to do so you don't lose next time? And also in sports, maybe that's okay. But if you're in a team setting, what do you think that shows to the rest of your teammates? What does that show to the classroom? And teach them to, I want you to be pissed off, but let's keep it inside a little bit more. And then let's use that energy instead of into a tantrum, into doing it so that you win next time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Gary Vee talks about that. So the serial entrepreneur, big on social media. It's like if a kid cries after he loses when he's 10 years old, that's a great thing.
Yes.
That's a great thing, know, right? Like, because you care. And a lot of times, like, that can be controlled. And you talk about the teaching moment. It's like, like you care about your teammates. You want your teammates to not just you to win, but like you want your team to win, And so, having that like pissed offness, that tantrumy kind of thing when you're younger, like it should never, like it's a teaching moment, but I think it's important that we negatively reinforce that in the right way, right? Like, let's change that, and let's change it into what you were just talking about, it from a teaching moment. And hey, how can we harness this love, this compete, whatever you want to call it, because compete comes out in different ways for different people, into actually making it for good for us.
Yeah, you just got to teach them to channel it. Teach them to harness energy, block bad.
Doing the bull dance, feeling the flow.
feeling it.
Working it. Okay, so creativity, compete. I think we're going to have to do like a part 1, part 2 here. I think we're going to have to do a part 1, part 2 here, which is totally fine. But the next one I want to talk about, Vex, is coachability. This one for me, I think we can do an entire podcast on this one. But at the end of the day, and I was telling a group of this the other day when I was talking to the kids up in Warman in Saskatchewan, as a college coach, my best recruits were not the ones who were the most talented freshmen. The best recruits are the ones that, how much better are you your sophomore year than your freshman year? How much better are you in year 3 than you were in year 2? How much better were you in year 4 than you were in year 3? I don't care how talented of a first-year player you are. If you're the same player the next year and the next year and the next year, you're a bad recruit. And a lot of times, those kids who stagnate or plateau, especially the talented ones, a big part of that is they're not coachable. So
define like what makes a coachable player.
I was literally just going to ask you that question. That's so funny that you just asked me that. But since you asked first, I will answer first. A coachable kid is someone that you tell them to do something once and then they go out and do it, or at least try to do it. And they're putting in the effort to do it. A coachable kid is one, like I know NHL scouts, I've talked about this with like NHL scouts who will sit behind the bench of a junior game or will sit behind the bench of a college game. And a big part of their thought process on, is this a kid we want to have as a part of our team? When the coach coaches them, are they making eye contact? Are they nodding their head? Or are they looking away and acting disinterested in what the coach is saying when they're communicating with them? I've had NHL scouts tell me that that's what they do, right? Like, so it's putting in the work after you as a coach have asked you to change or do something differently or work on a specific skill, and putting in the work. And it's in the communication, like you get somebody that's engaged, not somebody that's like, ugh. Because we all know the kids who's like, when you coach them, they're like, geez, okay, coach, like, stop getting all over me, blah, 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 blah. It's the kids who like want to be coached, you know? So that I think would be the two biggest ones for me. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, from the other side, there's nothing more frustrating as a coach than when you ask a player, tell a player, show a player, hey, do it this way, and then they don't, or you have to show them, tell them, ask them over and over and over and over.
Dude, it's the freaking worst.
I'm pretty sure like that's, you know, people are like, oh, coach doesn't like me. And like, you know, the old adage, like if coach isn't saying anything to you, if he's not talking to you, if he's not correcting you, if he's not coaching you harder, like it's because he doesn't care about you, doesn't like you. Coaches get to that point when they're coaching you and you never take their suggestions, or you never do it the way they showed you or demonstrated it, and especially when it's over and over and over. For me, there is nothing that grinds my gears more than when I have to coach and demonstrate a player on the same way to do an exercise, the way that I want it done, over and over and over and over. Now, caveat, if that is happening as a coach, what you're doing or saying, you need to change tactics because it's not working with that player some of the time. The other part of the time, it's because they don't want to be coached. They think they're right, whatever it may be. You got to know which one it is, you know, and the longer you coach, I think the better you get at that. Everyone does learn a little bit differently. You can't treat a square peg like it's going into a round hole, you know, whatever that friggin' saying is. You've got to learn how do different people learn and things like that. So you got to make sure that isn't the problem, right? You're trying to get a kid to read who hasn't learned to read yet. Obviously, he's not going to know what he's doing, you know. So that type of scenario, you're going to have to come at it from a different angle. But when it's clear and you know that they've gotten it once, but then they go away from it and they do it the way that they were doing it before you coached them, and it's over and over and over. That is the way that coaches wind up not wanting to friggin' coach you anymore. So be cognizant of that from both angles, as the coach and as the player.
Well, that's the point of this conversation right now, is what can we do as coaches to create more coachable kids, right? And so it's tough. Like a lot of the old school coaches, it's the player's either coachable or they're not. And it's just something that's within that kid. It's like a character trait. When at the end of the day, I think coachability, like anything, you can get more coachable or less coachable on a lot of different factors. And a lot of that does come down to us as coaches and the way that we communicate and the relationships that we build with these players. I guarantee you, if you invest a lot more effort into the relationship with the player as a coach, you're going to have a lot more coachable players. You know, you're going to have a lot more coachable players because they're going to trust you. And when they trust you, they're going to listen to your suggestions, and they're going to try and put the effort in to try and please you. You know, that's not the right way to say that, but you know what I mean? Like they're going to want you, they're going to want approval, you know, at the end of the day. And so like putting the relationship first is so incredibly important, and a big way to do that. And you talk about this a lot, is involving them in the goal setting. Like, this isn't me as a coach telling you what to do. I want to know what your standard is and what you want to do and how you're going to get there. And then I can help to guide you there and hold you accountable to the standards that you set at the end of the day. Like, you're going to have way more coachable kids if they feel like they're a part of the planning process of their development, rather than you're giving them this and they have to do what you say. Again, all the kids today, they want to know the why. I like, and I think that's a good thing. I think that's a really, really good thing. I think a lot of old school people are like, yeah, like I have to explain the why. They should just, when I say jump, they should say how high. And it's like, well, that's not really making them better. That's not making them critical thinkers. That's not making them problem solvers. That's making them robots at the end of the day. Now, is there some merit to some seniority and respect for your elders and things like that? I think absolutely, for sure there is, and you should listen to your coaches. But at the end of the day, as a coach, you have to look inward and you have to look in the mirror, and you have to build that relationship to make sure that they are going to want to run through a brick wall for you at the end of the day. And yeah, you say it all the time, man, involving them in the goal setting process, letting them set the standard, guiding them to, if it's not the right standard, to what that standard needs to be. That goes such a freaking long way to building that camaraderie within it. And then when you have camaraderie with the kid, he's going to be a way more coachable kid. And that's our job as coaches. We tell the players to control what they can control. Well, we have to control what we can control. And a lot of what we can control is the time and effort that we put into building relationship with players.
Well, and it's
Mic
like,
drop.
Boom. And a good, it's so true. And a really good example of that too is, like when I was in juniors, my first year, I was a fourth line player the whole year. And so like in the fourth line, it was like, don't get scored on, keep the puck in their end as long as you can and hit everything. And so like, I'm thinking like, oh, like I didn't know how to hit at that time in my career. And like, I'm thinking, oh, I got to try and run guys over. And so I'm trying to hit them as hard as I can. So I'm bringing my stick up in the air and trying to like hit them with my shoulder and kill them with my weak ass body back then. And, but it's like, well, that's not what works at this level, because even if you do hit that guy, you're going to bounce off them because you're rotated, not square to them. You're also allowing them to make the pass. So you're not, the point of checking is to separate the man from the puck. You doing that is allowing them to make the pass and then get hit, and your body's already rotated. So they're going to roll off you easier. And so like, coach getting me to understand and be like, no, we're doing it so that you take away the pass too, and you finish your check, and then you beat him back up the ice because your body is square to his. So when you hit stop and come back, you're ahead of him. And so like, instead of just being like, you got to go hit guys and you're not doing it right and it's not working, it's like, well, tell them why. When you tell me why. Oh, that's why. Also, you create more offense when you go stick pressure body because you're going to create more turnovers. Every player wants to score goals. So like, at the younger ages, I'm telling you to do it this way, because next year, when you get to X level, you're going to have to be able to do bop, bop, bop in a row. And the way you're doing it is the way little kids do it. You have to be better for next year. So that's why I'm making you do it this way. Do you understand why now? Because you said that you want to play blank next year. So getting them to connect with their why and then showing them why you're having them do it this way and how that's going to positively affect their career now and at the next level of their career. For me, that's been one of the biggest things that allows players to buy into why I'm wanting to do things a certain way versus the way that they did it last year and it worked at a lower level.
Yeah. And just to go along with what you're saying too, like when you talk about the why, one of the biggest and most important things that you have to do to create that at the beginning of the year is talking about the why of like, my job is to make you uncomfortable at times. My job is to push you outside your comfort zone. My job is to coach you hard, because that's where the gains happen. And so when I'm coaching you guys and I'm holding you accountable to these standards that we set, you might not like it in the minute, but just understand my why is that's where you get better. It's not because I don't like you. It's not because I'm a bad human being. I just know and understand through the research that I've done and through how I was coached and all this, that like, you don't get better inside your comfort zone. You get better outside your comfort zone. And so for me, I'm going to push you outside your comfort zone this year. And I always made a point to my players of saying, there might be a time or two where I cross the line with you, where I'm going to make a mistake and maybe I am coaching you a little bit too hard. maybe I haven't invested enough into the relationship, where you're going to trust what I'm saying because I'm a little hard and haven't done the other stuff that's really important as a coach too. And so if that happens, make sure you talk to me and let me know, and I'll apologize. Or I can disagree with you and say, no, like you got to be harder, kind of thing. But like, again, a relationship is a two-way street, and explaining your why up front, especially when it comes to, hey, my job is to push you outside your comfort zone. And here's why. It's because that's where you get better. I think that has always, when I've taken that tactic, gone a really long way with the players to being receptive to being coached hard and being pushed past the limits that they kind of had for themselves at the beginning.
I love that. That's so good. That's a big one right there. That's a really, really big one. The more the players understand that, you say that to a player, they're going to be like, yeah, I believe you.
And if you go into a room of players and you ask them straight up, like, I'm a coach in front of my 20 players at a lot of different levels, but let's just say Pee Wee or Bantam and up. And you say, hey, like, guys, do you want me to push you outside your comfort zone this year? Every single one of them are going to raise their hands. Hey, do you want me to push you harder than, you've been pushed before? Everybody's going to raise their hands. Hey, I want you to remember this when I'm doing that. So when I'm holding you accountable to these really high standards, remember this moment, and this is what you wanted. You wanted me to push you. And so again, just making sure you're explaining the why, over communicating that why, it goes a long, long way to their understanding of what you're doing, because a lot of times the disconnect, right? And this, we're putting our players' hats back on, or helmets, like you said, we're putting our helmets. Like, the worst thing as a player is when you don't understand where the coach is coming from, and there's a disconnect between you and the coach, and you feel like you're in this middle la land where the coach is doing these things, and you don't understand what he's doing or what she's doing, and you're in that really crazy, awful thing of just like all these thoughts are going in your head about what you feel like the coach thinks about you. But like, being upfront and being over communicative, is that even a word? Over communicative, whatever. It just, like, again, building that relationship, providing the feedback, like, you always got to be communicating with your players on these kinds of things, or else they're not going to know what you think. And that's a tough place to be as a player.
I always think about your story from when you were at Cornell with the guy you passed in the hallway when we talk about this stuff. Like, I tell my guys that all the time. I talk to coaches about that all the time, where you just came home from a super long road trip when you were assistant coach at Cornell. And I think you said you got home at like 5 a.m. You didn't even sleep. You showed up to the rink, like, eyes glazed over, half asleep. You're like, I'm not going to take the day off. I'm going no matter how tired I am. I didn't even sleep, drove all night. So
I feel like you have to tell this story in full detail now, though.
I mean, yeah, dude, because I think that's one of the most impactful stories you've told on here, because I was like, wow, how many times did I do that in my career? Probably.
So this was a real learning moment for me as a coach.
As the player, I mean, like,
no, totally.
Like, being like, oh my God, coach hates me. And it's like, dude, they didn't even remember walking past me.
Yeah, we've all been there. So the story, for those of you that haven't heard it yet, maybe you're newer to the podcast, I've told it a couple times. So I was coaching at Cornell, and team wasn't doing great at the time, and we were having some friction with our leadership group. And so we kind of brought them in to have a little bit of a come to Jesus meeting. Hey, what do we need to do to be better? Here's our thoughts on how we can be better, yada, yada, yada. And so as we're talking with our leadership group, one of the players, he basically says to me, he goes, Toph, I don't think you like me right now. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, I'm getting weird. Like, I just don't think that you like me right now. And I was like taken aback. I was like, well, what do you mean? Like, what makes you, I love you. Like, what makes you think that? And so he told this story about, we used to do 7 a.m. Monday lifts. And so he's like, last Monday or 2 Mondays ago, whatever it was, I was getting ready for Monday lift, in the locker room, and you walked through the locker room and you didn't even say hi to me. Didn't even say hi. And I was like racking my, I was like, I don't remember that. Like, what do you mean? When was this? And he told me it was at the lift, and he told me about it. And so I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, man, like I legitimately don't remember that. And so eventually I was like, oh, the light bulb went off, and I was like, dude, okay, this makes sense. So the night before, Sunday night, so Ottawa was like 3.5 hours away. So a lot of times on Sundays, I would go up and recruit either in Ottawa, which is 3.5 hours away, or Toronto, which was about 4.5 hours, depending on where you're going in Toronto. And so there was like a 7:30 game up in the Ottawa area that night, the night before on Sunday, and watched the game and got home at like 3-4 in the morning, whatever it was. But we were going through a skid. So I was like, I got to be present. I got to be there. They got to see that we're there with them, whatever. And I was like, buddy, like I was running on like 3 hours of sleep, if that. Like I probably didn't see you, but it wasn't because I was trying to skirt past you because I didn't want to talk to you. I probably literally just didn't see you because I didn't get any sleep the night before, and I was in an absolute haze. And so he kind of looked at me. He was like, "Are you serious? That's it?" Like, and I was like, "Yeah, man. Like, I have nothing against you. Are you kidding? Like, I love you." And so it was one of those things. It was a great learning thing for me as a coach on how important it is to have an open door policy and to make sure that you build a relationship with the players so they'll be willing to walk through that open door. For 2 weeks or whatever it was, he sat with that in his stomach. My coach doesn't like me. That's an awful feeling as a player.
And how much harder is it to play well when you're thinking that? Like it's
impossible, dude.
That's a mind game.
Impossible, because now all you're thinking is the coach doesn't like me, so I have to play for that coach's approval. You're not playing to play hockey anymore and go on instincts. You're like, okay, how can I make this coach like me again? And when you're playing for anything other than like love of the game and acting on instinct, you're not going to be the best version of you. And so, yeah, like we had a conversation afterward, and I was like, dude, like, I'm really sorry. And not for that situation, but more of, I'm really sorry that you didn't feel like right after that happened, you couldn't have walked into my office and said, hey, dude, what's up? Like, you didn't say hi to me. What's like, is everything okay? And so and again, but putting it on him too, like, hey man, like you got to get outside your comfort zone. Like if you feel that way, buddy, like you talk to me, like you have to do that. And so, yeah, like that was a story. And it was a great learning moment for me as a coach on how important consistent feedback, communication, and making sure the guys know they can walk in your office when they have an issue is 100%.
And that goes into
and he's one of our best players. At the end of the day, too, he was one of our best players, and we were on a skid. If he wasn't feeling that way, and if he was feeling great about how things were going, like we're probably not in a skid, because your best players get you out of skids. You know, they can take over. And so, yeah, like crazy stuff.
And that 100% goes into a player's coachability. No doubt about it, because it's going to affect their attitude. Yeah. Obviously, it's going to affect their play. Like that's a big one. So like knowing your players, letting them knowing you care, them knowing that you have their best interest and why you're coaching them the way you are and how it's going to affect their career positively and their game, and all of these things will go into their coachability. So like, don't be reactive, be proactive, and make all those things positives so that they are more coachable and more receptive to whatever feedback and coaching you're giving them. And then the team wins more. I think it's be proactive.
Yeah. And a big part of that is getting them comfortable and having hard conversations. And we'll talk to the parents here too, because you're a big part of that. It's not just the coach. Like, stop fighting your kids' battles. Stop fighting your kids' battles. Make sure that they are the ones going in to talk to the coach when there are issues. It will lead to so much more confidence. It will lead to so much more assertiveness, problem solving, all of these skills that are so incredibly important in life after hockey. And so coachability, right? It's almost like like, I love the kids who challenge me. I love the kids who come into the office wanting coaching. You know what I mean? Like Adam Fantilli is special. Every week he was knocking on Nars' door at Michigan. Like, let's watch video. Hey, what do I need to do to be better? Like, that's a big part of the reason why that kid's playing in the NHL at 19 years old, 18 years old. Because he's freaking like he wants to be coached hard, you know? And so like instilling that in our kids, man, it's such a game changer. It's such a game changer at the end of the day.
And that
this is what I get, Pat. You were doing it with the compete. Now I'm getting going here. Let's go.
And like Toph said, that's something that you can, imprint on your players, and it will only help them as they go up. It's just a little bit of living proactively instead of reactively, which takes a little more effort up front, but it takes way less effort overall and on the back end. Like way less effort down the line.
And forget about less effort. Like also, like honestly, from a mental health perspective, on both the player side and the coach's side, when you're on the same page with people, it's just so much easier to be around the rink. It's so much like you don't take that stuff and that baggage home with you, after work, thinking about how I can, get to this player or a player going home being like, hey, like, I don't know where I stand with my coach. Those are things that are very mentally taxing and draining, very negative. And so our jobs as coaches is to make sure our players know where they stand, and being able to build a relationship where they want that feedback all the time, and it's a two-way street, man. It's a two-way street. And this is what we're talking about here is we want to equip coaches with some knowledge and some insight and some perspective that can help them to be really, really good at this thing, because our kids need it, man. Like our kids need it at the end of the day, big time.
And you'll make the parents happy because by the end of the year, the team will be better. They'll win more, and everybody wins. Everybody's happy.
Yeah, everybody wins. All right, man. Well, we're way over an hour here, and so we're going to cut this one in half, and we'll do a part 1, part 2. So we'll do part 2 at another time because we got some pretty cool guests lined up in the next couple weeks. But yeah, really, really excited about this one. Hopefully you guys took some stuff out of this that you can use either in your life or as a coach with your hockey teams. I'm sure even if there's some kids listening, there's some things that you could take from this as well to help make you better kids and hockey players and people. So this is a fun one here today. Vex, great job, my man. A wealth of knowledge as always.
Guys, this is funny because Toph is sitting in his car and wherever the hell he's at this week, he's crushing it. He's been globetrotting all over the North American map here, working with teams with the Hockey Think Tank, which is really cool to see, and how many people he's helping. But Toph, this also reminds me when we started the podcast because you had young kids. You used to record the podcast in your car in your garage all the time, and this is just kind of
during nap time.
Yeah, this is reminding me back to those days. So it's kind of funny.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Yeah, we would do it in the afternoon and Paige would be sleeping and be like, can't wake her up. Wake her up.
Yeah.
Will be
Now I get that life, bro. Now I get that life. And Kylie, my wife, just put a story up on Instagram the other day, like showing how Sophie and I look alike. And it was a picture I had sent her in 2020 when we first started dating. And I had on that ugly, stupid wire Madonna, Britney Spears headphone set that we used to wear. And I was like, wow, we've come a long way on this podcast.
Oh, my God. Absolutely. Well, funny. I might go get a little Timmy Hortons lunch right now before I got a 2:00 meeting here in Calgary. So, yeah, love being up in here in Canada. There's a Tim Hortons on every corner, baby. And it was funny when I was recruiting at Cornell. Like, I'd come back and we'd have to hand in our receipts, and it was like Tim Hortons breakfast, Tim Hortons lunch, Tim Hortons dinner. It was always pretty funny. Like, what's this Tim Hortons
Jesus, get out a little bit, bro.
I know. Hey, I'm a routine kind of guy. I like my things the same. But anyway, great stuff here this week. We'll see you guys on Wednesday for short shifts. But hope you have a great week, and we love
Share the show.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.